Scarf yesterday. Oh wow, we got all this free time right now. I guess I should work on things. Maybe I'll work on the podcast a little bit, watch some anime. That'll be great. Scarf last night. Fuck the vlog! Welcome back, friends. Lost Scarf here, and it's time for the vlog. And first, it's going to be channel roundup, then we got to talk some politics, and then we'll end with Nintendo Direct. So here's the key thing. I'll say it now. If you want to skip to the Nintendo Direct talk, I will do this. Kirby will be in my lap. Alright? That'll tell you it's the Direct talk. So if you don't want any politics, skip to where you start seeing me holding this little buddy, okay? There you go. But don't go there yet, because let's start at the channel first. Because you should be interested in the channel, for God's sakes. Basically a podcast and Kirby's Dreamcast, both of our podcasts, are on Apple, are on Google, are on so many places to get podcasts. I'm almost done getting it everywhere. A couple more places to go that I have to sign up. I'm getting every place. Any place has 1 million plus people who listen to podcasts, we're getting on all of that. So I'm working on that right now, so where people can listen to either podcast. The hard one is Stitcher and Spotify. I think they both do podcasts, yeah. Those are the hard ones. Like, they only take the best, is my understanding. So, that'll take some time. We have to grow bigger on that. We gotta do more advertising. So, starting soon, I'm gonna start doing automated tweets on the Kirby Dreamcast Twitter, where every day at some random time, and only once, not too much, it's gonna tweet out one of the episodes. That's what's gonna happen there. And I think I should start pushing a little bit harder on regular content, on our own content on my Twitter, my personal Twitter a little bit, because it's got the most people. Until like a video gets like, I don't know, at least like 25 views. That's not a big number, but at least I'm pushing it to a point where people are getting more interested in it. The Amiibo tournament, I really think you should check that out. It was very entertaining. I've recorded the second one, and the second tournament is amazing. Just seeing the storylines of what the Amiibos were in the first tournament and what they become in the second tournament, it's really cool. It's so hype. It is a very interesting thing. I like it. I like what's developing out of that, and it's very fun. It's gonna be a bitch working on it, but it's very fun. Just the Amiibos fighting was pretty cool. Seeing who rebounded from last time and who crumbled was very interesting. Anything else to say about the channel? So we're doing the thing where right now it is Jinx is working on special projects. That was the Satella view and Kirby episode 12 for the Dreamcast on the YouTube version of it. And eventually we'll have the Hitman 3 LP happening, and then we'll do more special projects and so on and so forth, back and forth like that. Just putting it out there. Again, I think it's going to be Professor Layton's going to be the next voice LP, and we'll do that when there's a gap where there's no LPs we want to do. Although I am considering Bravely Default 2. We'll see. I'm going to record it no matter what and stream it. And if I feel like it's good enough for the main channel, then we'll have this big group of videos Jinx can work on, or I'll just put it on the side channel. If you've been following the side channel, I've been going through Hades, been trying to 100% it. And we're at like 40 episodes of Hades almost, and I'm almost there. Hades is very fun. I do want to eventually try to do a max heat. I do want to see, like, it's 68 heat, I think it is. One short of nice. I think 68 is the max heat. I don't know when I want to try to do that. Once I'm fully upgraded, I'll try to do that. But prior to that, I've just been slowly building the heat up. We're at 10 heat now, and I cannot wait to see what Extreme Measures Hades is like, because I'm about to do that, so I'm excited for that. Also, with basically a podcast, we've done a couple solo episodes, because I can't get any guests right now, and they're just whatever's going on that I feel like I want to talk about, pop culture, or just whatever's happening. And so politics is in there too. I dread talking about politics too much, because I do feel like people write off politics too much, and not enough people understand politics, so I talk about what's silly about it sometimes. But I do worry that people just get tired of politics and they just tune out. But that's why I'm doing the warning here, but if you don't want to hear politics. But I do think it's worthwhile talking about it and being like, what the hell's going on? But it's also potentially, when you talk about politics, it gets to a point where you can just feel very existential about it. Or not existential, but what is the point? So what, Nietzsche? Very I can't remember the word for it right now, where it's like, what does it matter kind of feeling, and that's why voter turnout's so awful in America. You like it's very odd how important politics is, but how turned off we are to it at the same time. So I've been doing a couple solo episodes, and they're basically a way to build thought throughout the week for what might happen in the vlog. And for this vlog, it's basically the third episode of the solo episodes, because I talk about the Texas freeze and I talk about the direct, and here I'm going to talk about politics in general and the direct. And what I want to talk about with politics, we'll get started in politics now, is also with the direct, I'll just go down the line about everything, what I thought about that. In case you just haven't seen the podcast, well then you can just see this. With politics, I'm going to talk about a little more general than I talk about with just Texas freeze, because the Texas freeze just shows you the problem, again, and why it can be a bit screwed with politics, and that is Texas froze. Bunch of people got screwed by that. It was very bad. The reason why things happened the way they were is because Texas has isolated itself from everyone else. And so they isolate themselves so that their power grid, it's only Texas. It's not connected to anyone else. The advantage to that is you don't have that big blackout that happened in California, Arizona, and I think it was New Mexico. I can't remember if it was 3 states or just 2 states, where the short was in Arizona or New Mexico, and then it took out 2 other states. Like, you don't have that problem if you're not connected to anyone else. But instead, what you have is what happened to Texas. It got frozen pretty hard, and it couldn't rely on anyone else. And a lot of people were without power. There were people who had power, but as you can see, they were getting charged an exorbitant amount instead, while they had power. And it's a very unfortunate situation, and you have politicians blaming green energy, which is only 10% of the energy in Texas. They're saying, Dan Crenshaw was saying this. I forget some of the other ones. They were saying green energy is to blame when it's only 10% of the power. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. That's not it at all. No way are you going to blame the 10%. Are you kidding me? I know Republicans are used to scapegoating the minority, but you gotta be kidding me with that bullcrap. What failed them was they didn't have a robust way to deal with a situation like this freeze, and these freezes are going to happen more often in Texas. It's very unfortunate. It's because this is just what's happening with our environment. It's just a reaction to everything we've been doing. They got frozen pretty bad before, and now they got frozen really bad this time. And there's no evidence to say it's not going to get worse next time, or just be just as bad, or better. Either thing could happen. I think it's going to get worse because the weather's been getting worse and worse and worse. And the thing is, like the virus, weather doesn't care about your politics. It doesn't give a crap what party you're on. Today, Kudlow is saying, this only happened because of Biden. Biden's the president. This is what you get. It's like, no, if Trump was president, it would still happen. The difference is Trump would say you guys are being brave, trying to survive out there in the frozen Texas. That's the difference while he's golfing. That is the only difference. The whole thing with Ted Cruz going to Cancun was 100% Ted Cruz, and that was very dumb. And it really does show you whether he cares about you or not if you're in Texas. But people still are blowing him, which is amazing. And this is why I want to talk about a bigger thing, and that is, the unfortunate thing about politics is because we only have 2 parties, is that a lot of voices are ignored, and a lot of voices don't feel like they have a choice in the matter. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to Republicans is, and both parties at the end of the day, but more on the right, is they rely on stupid people being their base. Now, yes, I'm going to be very insulting by saying that, but it is true. If you're too dumb to see through the lies, if you're too dumb to see through a lot of problems going on with Republicans, and how ass backwards a lot of the things they do is sometimes, you're never going to change. You're never going to get out of that spot. You're never going to get out of that situation. You're stuck there. There's too many times when you see a stupid take from Republicans. Now, there are stupid takes from Democrats as well. But it's always more often on the Republican side, and it's very annoying to see it. And way too many times, it is way more on the right than it is on the left, and this is what blows my mind, is the self-hatred without realizing it. It is the cutting the nose to spite the face when it comes to poor whites. A lot of poor whites are voting anti-things that help themselves. They look at Section 8 and they're like, this is something that benefits minorities. It benefits Mexicans, it benefits black people, and they hate it and they want it to be gotten rid of. The majority of people who take advantage of Section 8 are poor whites. Once again, they hate food stamps. They want to get rid of food stamps. They want to screw over Mexicans and blacks for the food stamps. The majority of people who use food stamps are whites. Republicans are trying to grow an attack on Social Security to get rid of Social Security, and the right is getting more and more up about that. But there is a good amount that are still anti, not going after Social Security, but there's a lot that are growing Republicans that are anti against it. And once again, the majority of people who benefit from Social Security and benefit from just all those programs is the whites. It's very unfortunate, and it really feels like Republicans should not have as much pull as they do. Because if the poor whites actually understood that they're voting against themselves and voted for themselves, which is more what the Democrats have been doing, there would not be as much of a battle between the left and the right, honestly. Now, of course, that's only on those topics. You, of course, have religious topics where that is a whole different thing, and the Republicans have been more the religious side of things, while Democrats have been more secular, and you can go with that whole argument, whatever, with your Faustian bargains on that. The problem is also for minorities. Minorities do feel like they're stuck having to pick the Democrat side because it feels like the Republicans don't give a shit about them, and they really don't. The only Republicans that care about minorities are minorities out of Republicans. That's really what it feels like. They don't bother trying to court the minorities at all. Because they don't have to. They got the poor whites. They don't need that. So because of that, they will just not fight or discourage, honestly, just the radical parts of poor whites in the Republican side. And there's even rich whites who believe in some of this crazy shit as well. Minorities do feel stuck with the Democrats because they don't have really a choice. When you have rich minorities, though, they're like, we're tired of Democrats taking advantage of us. And it makes sense. It makes sense to make that argument. But the problem is Republicans just don't really try to help minorities. They just don't. Because the minorities don't have any money. They really don't. Honestly. I don't want to get too deep on race against race a little bit, but it is frustrating when the minorities go at each other as well. And it's also weird when things that weren't white become white. And going into history, Irish people were not considered white at a time. The Polish were not considered white at a time. Italians were not considered white at a time. Now here's the thing. How many Irish people are there in America right now? There's about, I think it was like 10% of the population is Irish. And I believe it is, and this is off the top of my head because I'm not going to look it up real quick. Blacks are about 13% of the American population. Asians are about, I think it's at 6%, maybe 7%. Mexicans are actually way more. I think Mexicans are like 20%, 22% maybe. Italians are 8%. And then you just got whatever other random white, like Anglo-Saxon, all that, are a big portion. I just said a bunch of numbers here. But what I'm basically saying is, if you take away what used to not be white, then whites would be the minority. They just keep adding groups to make white majority again. They added the Irish, they added Italians, they're adding Hispanics, by the way, because there are very white Hispanics. So they just keep adding other races to keep white the majority. It's very interesting. And that's the thing that messes with minorities, is because I remember this guy in college. He's a Mexican dude, he's a very brown Mexican dude, and then he went to Mexico City, and there's very white Mexicans there. And he's like, wait, we can be white? And that's the thing, is that Mexico was a very big country. South America is a continent, for God's sakes. Like, all these Latin people, you have every direction of color when you go south of America. South of the United States. Because this is all considered Latin America, right? And you get all the colors of the rainbow, but not literally the colors of the rainbow. You get all the colors of race. But for a Mexican who just didn't know that, it just blows your mind to see a white Mexican. Ignorance is probably the biggest problem for all of us. You can only forgive some ignorance, but there's a lot where it's like, well, what can you do? Like, there's some ignorance where, like, there's no way for them to know better And there's also just like, you gotta be kidding me. And the problem is we simplify it way too much, because who do you think signs the checks in Hollywood? You think it's a Democrat who signs the checks in Hollywood? No. The CEOs of all the big companies, they're all Republican. The whole Gina Carano thing is like, she got fired because of views. No, she got fired because she wouldn't shut up. Chris Pratt is a conservative with a lot more pull, and he knows not to talk. He knows not to say stupid shit. Even a Democrat, a left-leaning person, knows not to say too much stupid shit because you'll get fired. You just don't say stupid shit. You don't want to get fired? Don't say stupid shit. Gina Carano said some stupid shit, and she got fired for it. That's the real reason there. She didn't get fired because he was conservative, because there's a lot of conservatives in Hollywood. It's not all liberals. It's this whole just making it a group and simplifying things that really ruins it for all of us, because we think too base, and because we think too base, we end up just doing dumb things and dumb decisions, like voting against ourselves. Or not even bothering to understand a bill or whatever, and just voting against ourselves. Voting in a way that would actually be detrimental to ourselves, because we don't actually understand it. I do feel when it comes to politics, we should be smarter about it, and we should be putting in more effort to make other people smarter about it as well. That is the one thing I hate the most about politics, is it does rely on the ignorance of people. And I could just keep going and going and going, but I've gone way over on the time I want to put into talking about politics. So let's get to the direct, and I swear to God, you're going to skip forward in this video, and you're like, whoa, here's finally Kirby. And yeah, my bad, I did not mean to talk about politics that long. My apologies for that, because I know not everyone wants to talk about politics. There are people who thrive on it. I know I got Kirby up until talking about politics, but I'm not talking about anything important. So let's see here. Let me get my tweets up, because that helps me know what the order was. So if you haven't seen the direct, I got nothing for you. For the rest of this episode, if you don't care about Nintendo at all, like, have a nice day. But if you care about Nintendo, let's talk about the direct. And the first thing that happened surprised me. We see the initial reaction when it's Xenoblade 2, and you see Rex, yeah, that's his name, Rex, show up. He's like, I'm looking for Pyra. I thought this was them building up a DLC for Xenoblade 2. I did not think it was going to be her. Like, for a moment, like, she in Smash? No, they're not going to do Smash this early. There's nothing to do the reveal this early. Also, they're going to do a Nintendo property? It's been a while. I don't think they're going to do one just yet. And, well, actually, Min Min was Nintendo property, so I'm like, oh, they're not going to do a Nintendo property. They'll probably do another different party first. And then, no, she's got him, like, oh, all right, well, good for Pyra. And you kind of get two characters. You get her and Mithra? Girl name? You get her as well. And it makes me curious about Xenoblade 1, because Shulk knows her, because I know she's like 500 years old or something. And Shulk's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in forever, because Shulk's dead by that point. But, that's interesting. I can't wait to see Pyra Kirby. And, by the way, don't look up Pyra Kirby at the moment. Everyone's giving Kirby boobs. So, this has led to a talk about objectification of women. Because they're like, everyone talked about, woo, alarm. I have an alarm set at the same time every time. You can tell when I'm recording these by that alarm. Because everyone's like, objectification of Sephiroth. It was like, well, look at him, he's a cool villain, all these things, but look at those muscles, look at those abs and everything. And then Pyra's just been, haha, boobs. And yeah, also butt. She's got a booty as well. And yeah. It's just been so much boobs. But they are, they're pretty big. Alright, so after that you got Fall Guys, and Fall Guys is perfect for Switch. I haven't played Fall Guys in months, but Fall Guys pretty good for Switch. That's a perfect spot for it. That's a good place. Outer Wilds is coming to Switch. I have not played Outer Wilds. All I know is everyone says it's amazing. Everyone says it's amazing. Instead, I went and played Outer Worlds, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. Parvati was the best part of that game, though. So at some point I gotta check out Outer Wilds. I really do. I don't know when. Then there's this detective game, which, oh my god. That detective game was in Smash 64. It was in Smash 64. It was one of the trophies you could get, because it was a Japan-only game, because they had Japan-only games in there. And that was one of them. And so the games are finally coming to the US. Ain't that something? Then we saw Samurai Warriors 5. Don't care about Samurai Warriors at all. Looks like Oda Nobuaga's a young guy now. I like the better one he had. He looked like a demon. That was way cooler. Now he's this young guy, like, eh. Either way, I prefer the Orochi series when it comes to the samurai side of things. I like playing that crossover instead of just Samurai Warriors. I like Dynasty Warriors and like Orochi. I guess it's just because of Dynasty Warriors in it, but I don't care for just Samurai Warriors. Legend of Mana is finally coming. So if you did not know, Legend of Mana was originally only on the PlayStation or PlayStation 2. I forget how old it is. It was only on PlayStation. So now we can finally play it on the Switch, and I'm going to buy it for sure. It's the only Mana I haven't played. I played Secret of Mana 1, I played Secret of Mana 2. Back in the day, by the way, I played a fan translation of it. It was really good. That's why I never picked up this remake of it. The remake looks really good, but I just never picked it up. I'm like, I already played the hell out of it. I don't need to play it again. But I can't wait to try out Legend of Mana. There were a lot of complaints about Legend of Mana back in the day, so I'm really curious what they were, and I'm going to dump to 50 to find out. Or 60, I forget. Depends. Is Legend of Mana getting a physical copy or not? By the way, quick tip. Walmart always sells new releases at $50. They always do. It's their way to get you to go in there. They will take that -10 because it gets you in the store. That's why I always shop at Walmart. Unless their workers are being not cool, then I'll spend the extra 10 somewhere else. It's happened. I forget which game right now, but it was the day a game came out, and they just weren't willing to go back and get it out of storage to put it on display. I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna go to Target. Let's see, Monster Hunter Rise. We got to see a lot of the monsters and stuff like that. We got to see one of the attacks, and it was really cool. And they're gonna have apex predators, and I'm hyped. Like, you get to be basically a ninja. You get to ride them. It's gonna be really cool. Monster Hunter, of course, I've played every single Monster Hunter except for the ones that are only in Japan, and there was like 1 or 3 only in Japan, and there's like an online one only in Japan. Didn't get to play those. I had friends who played them, but I didn't get to play them. So I played all of them except for those. And I just love Monster Hunter. I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be fun, and I'm going to play a bunch of it. Apex, time Apex Monsters, but also Apex Legends come to Switch. I liked Apex Legends. I don't like the Battle Pass. And the Battle Pass really turned me off because I think it's just OCD or something where I must complete Battle Passes. And their Battle Pass really turned me off to the game. But hey, it's there. It's a good game. I know it is. I just can't play it anymore. Mario Golf. Mario Golf. I, for one, love Mario Golf. There are people who I can't wait for big announcements. Oh, it's Mario Golf. I'm like, no, screw you. Mario Golf is amazing. Mario Tennis is amazing. Mario Soccer is insane. Baseball is fun. I want a new Mario Baseball as well. I like the Mario sports games because they're an interesting twist on just the games, on the sports. It really is. I don't know how Mario Football would work, but I am curious. I just like sports games with Mario characters. It's the only way I play sports games besides tennis. I own the Sega tennis games because I just like tennis because I'm a tennis fan. And poor Serena Williams can't beat Osaka. Mario Golf's gonna have motion controls. It could be awful, it could be good. I don't know. I'm curious about that. Speed Golf looks really dumb. I cannot wait to play Speed Golf. This game better have online because if it don't, what the hell? So Telltale's coming to Switch with Borderlands, and I'm curious who's getting the money there. Depending on who's getting the money from that game is whether or not I'd say just don't even bother with it. Capcom Arcade. Oh, so I'm gonna drop her name. Indie Gamer Chick is covering every single game in the Capcom Arcade, and she's going over what she thinks is worth it and what's not. And she's like halfway through, and I'm seeing a lot of because I played everything in the arcades when I was a kid. I played everything. I had access to a lot of arcades when I was a kid. And so I've played every game that's in there. And my nostalgia has been like, oh, these were awesome. And she's like, no, this is a pile of crap. I'm like, oh, damn, all right, well, no, my nostalgia's not so great. Oh, yeah, Stubbs the Zombie's coming to Switch. Some people really have about that. No More Heroes 3 is finally coming. I sadly forgot about No More Heroes. I love Travis, but No More Heroes games are insanely weird and everything, and they just don't happen often. We'll see how 3 is. Oh yeah, No More Heroes comes out after my birthday too. Neon White from the developers of Donut County. Neon White is very interesting. It reminds me of another FPS roguelike game that I think had cards. And I'm really interested to see how this game works out. maybe I can get a copy of it. Superhero Girls of DC. I forgot that was a thing. I don't know if I ever want to see the show, but the game might be fun. Plants vs. Zombie Shooter. Never played it. Looks like it could be fun as well. Miitopia is $60. Don't even bother. Should have been a 40, maybe a 30. The fact of making it $60, don't even bother. Miitopia's a funny idea. Don't even bother. Right. Brave Default 2 is almost here. I haven't beaten Bravely Second. I'm so close to I'm in the final arc of Bravely Second. I just stopped playing it a couple of years ago. I need to finish that game. Bravely Default 1 and Bravely Second, great games. Bravely Default 1 made one crucial mistake that made it from like a 9 or an 8 to a 7. It really did make a mistake there. Bravely Second, solid 8. It's a really good game. Although I haven't finished it, so maybe I get turned off by the ending. I don't know. Bravely Default 2, I'm convinced will be a 7 or an 8 for sure. If it hits 10, I'd love that. 10s exist. I don't care about the people who are like, 10 only exists for perfect games. Oh, well then 10 will never happen. A perfect game doesn't exist. You can get really effing close though. And that's what a 10 should be. Really effing close. Super Mario items in Animal Crossing. Who doesn't want that? The biggest thing out of that I'm happy about is the Warp Pipe. I would like it if Zelda and Kirby had stuff on there too. Just other properties on there. By the way, happy 35th anniversary to Legend of Zelda. And yes, I agree, it sucks Nintendo's not doing anything for that. Skyward Sword's not good enough, we'll talk about that in a bit. Project Triangle Strategies is a dumb project name. Remember Octopath? I don't know, I think Octopath was a fine project name. Triangle Strategy sounds dumb though. I played the demo, I enjoyed it. It's a bit rough though, so I think feedback is going to be important there. I liked it though. And visually, it has all the pluses and minuses of Octopath, the things that were good and bad about it. And if it handles boss fights, because, well, it won't be the same because it's tactical strategy, but if it just handles certain fights the way Octopath handles certain fights, 100% on board. The one thing I do like, though, is because playing a lot of tactical strategies like Fire Emblem and all these, the exploration phase is a nice thing. I really like that. That's a really cool thing that no game has really done, honestly. At least I can't think of any. I've played a lot. Star Wars Hunters, we didn't learn anything. Knockout City, the commercial was funny. I liked it. It was a little cringe as well, but I liked it at the same time. The game itself, I don't know. The Danganronpa game. Roompa. The Danganronpa. I'm going to say it wrong every time. That game. It's a curious concept. It really is. I don't know. Maybe. Hades on Switch, physical copy, buying it for the art book. I own the game on PC. Buying it for the art book. And then I'm just going to have the cartridge. Or I just play it on Switch as well in a couple of years, because there's no way I'm going to be wanting to play it right now when I'm trying to get through it 100% on PC after all. Ninja Gaiden Collection. All I know is Ninja Gaiden games are hard as balls, and I could finally find out if I want. And I am surprised Ryu Hayabusa is not on Smash. Ninja Gaiden has been started on the NES, and I'm surprised. Well, arcade or NES, or both. I forget where it started first, but it's been on the NES. Surprised he wasn't there. This was the time for Ryu Hayabusa to be put into Smash, because it'd be a way to sell Ninja Gaiden. But that didn't happen. And that's the thing, Smash should be used to sell Nintendo products. It really should. So this is going to get people buying Xenoblade. So that's cool. Age Calamity DLC, I didn't look at it too deeply, but it didn't look like too much I cared about. There's more gameplay, but unless there's like more story, I don't think I care about that. New Ghosts and Goblins. If it was online, I'd care. Since it's local, I don't care. I already mentioned Bravely Default 2, White LP it. Oh, Saga Frontier. So Saga Frontier is an interesting game where you get like 8 characters. So the Saga games are, every character has a story going on. You go on this world map and you're doing story for yourself, and other characters are there as well, and they can be in your party. And then you can do their stories and see their perspective on things. It's an interesting idea, but they're very long, very grindy, and they can get really boring. So it really depends on you whether you really like that or not. And there was no time for one more big announcement, or 2 more big announcements, right? And here's the thing about Breath of the Wild 2. When I saw the Direct, when I saw there was going to be a Direct, I assumed Breath of the Wild 2 would be on there. When I saw the key wording of this is for the first half of the year, I knew Breath of the Wild 2 would not be on there. I knew it because Breath of the Wild 2 would definitely be a holiday release. It would never be a spring release or summer release. it would be a holiday release. You put your best game in the holiday release. That's just what you do. Doesn't matter if it was finished in spring, you put it in the holiday release. And so that's happening. Like Odyssey was a holiday release. Smash was a holiday release, unless I'm crazy. Or was it an April release, actually? Can't remember off the top of my head right now. I'm pretty sure it was a holiday release, though. So Breath of the Wild 2 would definitely be a holiday release. It would 100% be a holiday release. And if I'm wrong about that, and, well, look at me, I'm wrong about that. So, like, okay, so no Zelda, and that's unfortunate. And then Skyward Sword. I'm actually interested. And people are like, good, you don't have to do motion controls. I'm like, I'm 100% interested in doing it with motion controls. I didn't play it before because I just did not play Skyward Sword. I had other things. I think also because Twilight Princess just was okay, and then I just didn't feel like playing another Zelda when Skyward Sword came out. Oh yeah, the specialist Joy-Cons are going to sell out for sure. Yeah. So I'm interested in Skyward Sword, motion controls. And then we saw Splatoon. And I was like, is this DLC? Is this going to be DLC? Are we going to do like an open world thing? What's going on here? And no, it's just more Splatoon. It's Splatoon 3. I'm like, oh, okay, alright. And I'm curious, we're going to get new idols? We're going to get a combination of the old idols or what? I assume new idols. And I assume the artists are going to go crazy. Oh my god, do the artists always go crazy. The only one crazy on Marina, though, poor Pearl. Was that her name? Yeah, it was Pearl. Then again, probably shouldn't do things with Pearl. Last thoughts are, so for the Kirby fans, I don't think Kirby fans should be discouraged. I think, we got a game at the end of last year, or near after the summer. I think if we do get another game, it would be then. We've gotten a game every single year for Kirby since 1996 or 98. Or 2002. There's like 3 dates that I try to remember which one it is. And one of those 3 dates. So we've had a Kirby game every year for over a decade. So if we don't get anything this year, that would suck. But it's also possible they're gearing up for the 30th anniversary. And the thing is, Kirby is a second party. So we don't have to worry about, like Zelda has to worry about getting anniversary packs. Kirby's getting a 30th anniversary. I can guarantee that. I can bet my Kirby collection on a 30th anniversary. I can do that. I can do that with absolute confidence, because HAL isn't going to skip that opportunity to do a 30th anniversary. They did 20th and 25th. You think they're going to skip 30th anniversary? Come on now. They're not. Kirby is what makes them the money. And I would love it if they did like some little crossover with Part-Time UFO and Box Boy. That'd be kind of cool to see. Like they did like a 30th anniversary pack. Or if HAL did a 40th anniversary pack. It's their 41st. Today's their 41st anniversary, by the way. That would have been cool as well. Or tomorrow is, depending what part of the world you're in. So that would be pretty cool if HAL did some combination thing. But Kirby 30th anniversary is going to definitely happen next year, and I got to make sure I draw something for that. I can't wait to see what people draw and animate for Kirby 30th anniversary for sure. If you're a fan of F-Zero, there was no news here, but I do know that the developer is working on it finally after all this time. Metroid 4, nothing. Bayo, nothing. I feel bad for those communities, for sure. Pokemon community, what are you whining about? I'm going to put it that way, too. You're getting Pokemon Snap in April. I'm buying it. I can't wait for Pokemon Snap. You're getting a game. You're getting a game. Sometimes it's just like, come on, Pokemon. Now, I know they're upset Casino didn't get any love because it's their 10th anniversary, but like, guys, guys, and ladies, come on. You're still getting something. You're constantly getting an anime. You get a game every year, maybe even 2 sometimes. You get phone games all the time as well. You're getting plenty. You don't need to complain. You're good. You're good. I think that's everything. The only thing that, as far as I know, was in the Japanese Direct was Shin-Chan was in there, and I think that was it pretty much. Because sometimes the Japanese Direct has different things. Yeah, I think that was the only difference as far as I know. And that is it for the vlog. I went pretty long, didn't I? Yes, I did. Jinx is going to kill me. So there you go. That was the vlog. I'm going to get the hell out and finally eat. Oh god, it's 11:30. I'm going to finally eat and have just a late lunch and a late dinner now. And I hope you all have a nice day. Thanks for coming by. I had fun. It'll be fun watching. That's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun. And see you next time.